Well, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing splendid, having a wonderful weekend. I wanted to apologize for not getting this out yesterday. I had some kind of weird problem with my sound. You know how that goes. Before I do anything else, I want to say hello to all my good friends that have stuck with me over the couple of years that I've been doing this, and a special hello to all of you newbies, people that have subscribed in the last couple of weeks. It looks like I've had about 200 subscribers in 2 weeks. Of course, that's attributed to my collaboration with Simon and Dan. I certainly appreciate him giving me that opportunity, and it was good for me to do that. I sure enjoy doing that kind of research, and if you haven't seen that video, go over there and look at it, subscribe, and let Dan know that he did a good job. Today I want to talk about, we're starting our series on flat earth proofs. I'm kind of doing this thinking about Eric Dubé's 200 proofs of flat earth. And so I decided I would make a series and kind of count up what I thought were proofs of the spherical earth, and it's more, to me, it's more like proof that flat earth is wrong. There are just so many problems with flat earth that are completely opposed to science that there should be no questions. I don't understand these guys that say flat earth is the scientific model and that spherical earth is not scientific. They have no proof of that, you know. The first thing I see always is that they have a problem with their shape. Sure, they say flat earth. That is their basic motto. They get this from the Christian Bible. Of course, some of them aren't very religious, and they tell you, oh no, you know, we don't look at the Bible. Samuel Rowbotham, that wrote the first book on flat earth, it was called Zetetic Astronomy. You might hear certain people talk about that. It references the Christian Bible all through it. I've been kind of looking at it. I hate to say reading it, but just kind of looking at the different ideas. You can get it on the internet. You don't have to go out and buy one of the silly books. But one thing I want you to know about this Zetetic Astronomy is it was written in like 1880. So it was written before any of the modern scientific advancements of the 20th century. And so, you know, they got their scientific proofs from very old, outdated methods. So you have the flat Earth, and we'll get into it. The circular flat disc might look like a coin or something. However, nobody knows what's underneath. They won't talk about that. They don't have anything to say about that. The other one is flat, sort of a pizza box looking thing with squared corners, and that again comes from the Bible. There is a lot of people that believe that the flat circular disc with the ice wall, but they think that outside the ice wall there's more land that the government is hiding from us, not letting us go there. And Mark Sargent, the king of flat earth, often says that we have our flat earth with the dome, but there might be other flat earths with domes, with people living on it. And so that's the idea he's portraying lately. So there you go. There's a bunch of ideas. There's no settling on which of those is correct. There's no proof of any of those. They will say all the globe pictures are fake, CGI, but they never show their own pictures to prove it's that the Earth is actually flat. So the general consensus that you will see in most flat Earth videos is that the Earth is a flat circular disc. As I said, it's unknown what's underneath. It might be sitting on pillars. It might be sitting on big elephants or turtles. All of that is just kind of ridiculous conjecture. So if you look around, it's not hard to find a flat Earth map. And what I've heard lately is this map. This map is called the AE projection map. And AE means azimuthal projection, azimuthal equidistant projection. And so what that means is that it comes from spherical geometry, where you have a set line segment that extends from the center of the sphere to the surface, and that line is projected down onto a plane in the center that goes through the center of the sphere. So what it does is it makes those angles, the azimuth, equal, and that's where it comes from. So when they tell you that azimuthal equidistant map came first and then the globe was created from that, that's totally, completely, 100% incorrect, because you can't have an AE map unless you first have the sphere. That's the way the map works. This AE map, if you look, you're looking down from above, and the North Pole becomes the center of the map, and the continents are around it. So that's where that came from. And there's a serious problem with an AE projection map in that there's nothing on the edge, so we have a problem starting off that all the water, all the oceans would pour off the edge of the earth, which flat earthers have a problem with. So their fix for that was to take the continent of Australia, and that is around the edge of the earth. That gives them what they call an ice wall, which again there's no agreement on. It might be 100 feet high, it might be 200 feet high. No one really knows, but they tell you definitely it's there. They tell you that there's an Antarctic treaty that was signed in the 1950s, and it was basically an agreement between countries that they would not claim Antarctica as a colony. You can remember that in past history, as recent as the 1800s, countries were very quick to pick a land or pick a island nation or something and claim it as theirs. They get all of the resources and stuff, so they claim that. And what they were trying to prevent with this treaty is they don't want some country moving in and claiming that this belongs to them and that all the resources they can mine and sell these resources and get profit off of those. That's what the treaty was designed to prevent. Flat earthers will tell you that there's a military component to that there are military troops guarding this ice wall, Antarctica, and everyday people are not allowed to go there. It is strictly forbidden. So that's where they get that from. There's been no pictures of troops or military boats or whatever guarding this wall. It'd be nice. I'm sure you could go down to the tip of South America and take pictures of big military ship cruising by. Somebody could try to get onto the Antarctica and show how they're stopped by the military and turn back. They keep saying that the military kills people. I just highly doubt that. And so that's the idea behind flat Earth. This is opposed to the spherical Earth, which I really don't want to talk about a lot. But let me tell you here that some of the flat Earth proponents say that there's the same problem with the spherical Earth, that nobody knows what the real shape is, and they show these pictures of a sphere, which, by the way, there are millions of these pictures, and it just seems improbable that every single one of those could be CGI. And I think you can imagine that how many of these photos are faked somehow. Every one of those photos is in consensus with each other. They all look alike. They all have this same shape. You can see the continents, and that's where that comes from for us. But anyway, flat earthers will tell you that it's an oblate spheroid, which means it's kind of bulging at the center because of the rotation, and centrifugal force. The center kind of bulges out. And then good old Neil deGrasse Tyson said that it's pear-shaped, that the southern hemisphere is a little bigger than the northern hemisphere. He said all kinds of funny things like the Earth is kind of chubby, so so they have this idea that the Earth is not spherical. I can assure you that these pictures are correct pictures. If you see them talk about the oblate spheroid, you can look at measurements from north to south circumference, east to west circumference, and I found that the difference is about 134 kilometers, which is about 0.3%. So I seriously just don't see how you could see that 0.3%. I hate Neil deGrasse Tyson saying that all this, stuff about the Earth being pear-shaped. The website didyouknow.org was the easiest place for me to find some statistics. It says Earth is not exactly round, it is slightly pear-shaped. The North Pole radius is 1.73 inches, which is about 4.4 centimeters longer than the South Pole radius. So, you're talking inches here when the radius is like miles, 4,000 miles. So, wow, a whole 1.73 inches. So, with this information, don't let anybody tell you that the Earth is different than a sphere. As far as you're concerned, as far as flat earthers are concerned, the Earth is a sphere. In that same interview with Neil deGrasse Tyson, which you can find on YouTube, he says if you compare a pool cue ball to the Earth, if you could compare them at the same size, the Earth is a more smooth, spherical shape than the cue ball is. So that gives you an idea how spherical we're talking about. So, like I was saying earlier, I kind of wish that Neil deGrasse Tyson would have just said it's a sphere and that's it. However, he had to make a big point of it, and that's just I think was opening a big can of worms. So again, if we go back to this AE map, there are also dimensional problems. what happens is the latitudes, instead of being parallel, are radial, like cutting slices out of a pizza. They come from the North Pole and go out to the south thing, and that radial distances causes a big problem in the southern hemisphere because things get stretched. And so if you look at the country of Australia, Australia is actually the same distance from north to south as it is from east to west. And you can look that up on many different resources and get the same numbers. You can look at airline schedules. You can look at driving ideas, and you can look at just the dimensions. Look up on Google and say, how big is Australia? And you will find that those are almost equal. You look on the AE map, and the country of Australia, or the continent, looks like a submarine roll, I guess, stretched out. New Zealand is stretched over to one side, and it's much further away than it should look. The Indonesian Islands are also very stretched out along the top there. Africa looks, compact and kind of stretched. So the AE map gives you a lot of problems with measurement. Again, you can look at airline miles between different cities, and we've had a lot of people that have compared, tried to measure between cities and calculate flat earth distances and then compare that to airline flights, and you just can't do it. It doesn't work. Many flat earthers that I've seen will say, well, those are fake flights. They're just put on there by the airlines. You can't book that flight, or if you do book one, it gets canceled. And while cancellations do happen, you can book a flight, and I've done that myself. So you look at the scientific measuring, geodesy, seismology, even the surface areas are all fit the spherical Earth and are wildly different than what could happen on a flat circular disk. So get that out of your head right now, that the Earth is flat and that the continents don't look like what we think. They look like what they think, but the reality doesn't compare. So I've kind of gotten off my script here, so I'm trying to find where I'm at. There used to be a really diligent flat earther that was trying to make the flat earth map be correct in its measurements, and what he was doing was taking airline scheduled airline, where the airlines say this much flight distance, and he was trying to make a correct proportion flat earth map, and I think he worked on it for a couple of years. He was making videos showing how his progress, and at the end he just disappeared. His channel was canceled. As far as I could tell, he just couldn't make it work. So the moral of this story is that geography just doesn't fit the flat earth. So we now know that we have the first set of proofs that the flat earth is just incomprehensible. And also that flat earth has measurement problems. So here's I have 8 points right now. I'll list these in the description so you can copy them down or whatever you want to do. So there's disagreement among, number 1, there's disagreement among flat earthers of the exact shape of this supposedly flat earth. Number 2, the origin of the flat earth conspiracy began as Christianity and a Bible misinterpretation. And I get irritated because they always say science is religion. Well, flat earth came from religion. The only points they talk about are things that somebody has gotten out of the Christian Bible. Number 3, the ice wall is an artifact made up to correct the problem of water falling off the flat earth. Atlantic Treaty does not show any military problems. So number 4, photos from space certainly prove that the earth is a sphere. Once again, there are millions of those taken from all kinds of different sources, and it just doesn't work in reality. Number 5, as I said before, the Antarctica, the Antarctic Treaty. There are researchers on Antarctica, vacationers go there, absence of militia groups, and there are skiers, cross-country skiers that have gone cross-country. Those are all proof that Antarctica is a real continent. The size, shape, and distance of Australia, New Zealand, and the Indonesian Islands are a big problem. Number 7, flat earthers often say that Australia and New Zealand do not exist. That's their way of fixing that problem. I'm sure that would is much to the chagrin of Aussies and Kiwis. And then number 8 is airplane flights in the southern hemisphere, which just don't fit with reality. So these are my 8 proofs from today. If you want to add to that, give me a comment down there, and I'll add that to my list. I hope that you did your homework for last week. Unfortunately, I don't have a homework assignment for this week, and we'll work on one for next week. So next week I'm going to talk about the dome, which we'll find odd, and I'll see you then on next week. Have a good week, guys.